And here's my bumblebee planter that's just now finally filling up with some morning glory. It's looking pretty good. It's starting to anyway. Down there's the flower that broke off. It's supposed to go on there, but my crappy welds just didn't hold up. I can see I've got one Jerusalem artichoke in here that's getting smothered quite a bit. And then these raised beds here are kind of like my starter beds, I guess. I don't know. And I had lettuce in there, which it's bolting, and I'm just letting that go to seed. And my one kohlrabi that survived, it's the only one that's growing. It's been such a weird year. I planted a whole bunch of stuff for me, and then, like one grew, like one quinoa. What am I going to do with one quinoa? I don't know. This patch of Jerusalem artichokes here by the door, I tried to get every single tuber out of there last year. And so that really goes to show you that it really is kind of impossible to get them out when you harvest them. On the other hand, the thing I don't really understand about this patch is these were planted before all the other ones, and yet came in later and are smaller. So I don't, and they still haven't even bloomed. So I don't really understand the whole bloom cycle, because these ones over here were planted 3 months later and just shot up and bloomed into huge giant flowers. This right here is kind of my nursery / sales area. This is where I kind of start a bunch of stuff and then set it up to sell. And you can see I've got a bunch of stuff that's not really thriving, but it's kind of doing okay. This rosemary here has been here for 1.5 years and done absolutely nothing. It's really weird. Garlic chives are doing very well. In this bed, which is way overplanted, I got some regular chives that, I hack away at these and split them up into planters pretty often. So this kind of stays in check. This is a celeriac that I bought at Rayleigh's just to grow the seeds, because I couldn't find the seeds anywhere. And then these are all just basically plant starts that I make and sell, like Jerusalem artichokes, obviously, and kale. The plan here was to have a bunch of really tall Jerusalem artichokes that put shade in, but all the ones that I planted for shade are kind of runty and short. Like this guy right here is just a teeny tiny little thing. So now this planter here in front is new, and it's going to be just Jerusalem artichokes, because the allelopathic properties of them, prevent other things from growing. So kind of thought I'd put them in their own planter. And then right now I've got some comfrey in here that is just starting, that I'll move that out around everywhere. The comfrey for over in this area here, my plan was to put comfrey along the edge of the compost pile. But now I'm kind of regretting that I didn't put more Jerusalem artichokes in like a 4-foot wide swath instead of just a 2-foot wide swath. So I don't know. I may plant more comfrey in here and fill this area up, or I may put some more Jerusalem artichokes in there. And then over in this area, my pretty princess planter, which is my favorite thing in the whole garden, but the flower bed that's in the pretty princess planter has been a real disappointment. It's only grown a couple of bachelor buttons and alyssum, and really not anything else. Same with this planter. This planter, this ditch right, or this dike right here, prevents flooding out of this, and it was here when I bought the property. So I dug it up and built this ditch, but then as I did that, the neighbor complained about a bunch of wood chips here. I had wood chips kind of on his property. And so I was really rushed moving all these wood chips in. And so that's basically just wood chips. It's really not proper soil. But you can see there's still some stuff growing. And then these cucumbers have been super weird this year. This is the third planting of cucumbers because the first two died. And it did nothing all summer until mid-July. It started growing. And now it's just going like crazy. It's just spread like nuts. And the same with the corn. This is the third or fourth planting of corn because during the summer, it all died. I could not keep corn growing to save my life. It all looked like this. Now it's going great guns, almost like it's spring. But of course, it's, you know, late August and mid-August. And I'm pretty sure it's going to snow next week. I don't know. And then the same with these Jerusalem artichokes here. I don't know what's going on with them. They're just not, I don't think, thriving. They're just kind of on the small side. And then over here, you can see this big dead spot that just doesn't really grow anything. And haven't quite figured that out. I think next year I'll plant some more artichokes there, and I'll put a little bit more compost on them. Because there's spots like over there where they're growing, but just barely. This area here is planned to be a garage if I ever get it built. I don't know. And then the shade garden here, I'm just kind of starting with, I haven't really figured it out. Is it weird to decide which kind of potato you like based on a slightly different color of flower? I don't know. These are more purple and I like them better. I think these are Yukon Golds. And then this area is kind of a work in progress. These are eventually going to get covered with cedar. But you can see some of the Jerusalem artichokes are growing really well. And then others just really aren't. They've been here just as long and they're not doing so great. But the plan is really, this was supposed to be a whole privacy fence of Jerusalem artichokes. These really are just temporary, just to grow more Jerusalem artichokes, just because I wanted the tubers for planting. I didn't really regulate or control what chemical, which chemical bins were which. So I don't know which ones are super poisonous and which ones aren't. So these are not really for human food. They're just, I'll grow the tubers and then give it another year before I actually eat the tubers. But this is just kind of random junk that I've planted. All this dirt came from that ditch over here, the dike over here. And it all needs to go into planters like this and kind of form a wall. And then this is just my disaster of 500 projects going at once that I haven't worked on at all. And then over here, it's kind of a similar situation to the front where we've got, this one's growing going great guns with some alfalfa and Jerusalem artichokes and all kinds of stuff in there. But they're kind of stunted because of the shade. My rhubarb that I transplanted from my other house, which is getting eaten alive by something, I don't know what. And I was really hoping that it would seed this summer and I could plant a bunch more, but that hasn't happened. Just a random bin, and I tried planting some corn here, but it's kind of too shady, I think. I don't know. More Jerusalem artichokes. And the idea here was basically just fill this area with a lot of wood chips. And then since I added irrigation for the planters, got some amaranth there. This amaranth has been really frustrating because I've planted it everywhere and it's grown exactly 2 of them. This spot here and one over there, that golden one over there. But I planted it all along the fence and it did nothing. Anyway, so I was going to fill this all up with wood chips, and then with the water, I was hoping that it would all settle down, and then I would just kind of keep putting wood chips on it to raise it up a little bit. Again, my focus is all on Jerusalem artichokes to be a privacy fence here. this is all kind of a work in progress. This is eventually going to be a greenhouse. These are my worm bins. Eventually, all of them will be worm bins, but right now it's just this one and that one are my main worm bins. Little quail. Hello, quail. This is a pumpkin that I planted that's just going nuts. You can see here. At least I think it's a pumpkin.